You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hoorah! Radical Rant.
Welcome back, Tokers and Tokettes. You know, I did a story last week about blunt wraps and how here in the state of Oregon they are pushing for a bill to ban these leaf tobaccos that are often, rolled up into blunts with cannabis here in the state of Oregon. I came upon a story today from Idaho where lawmakers are proposing the same thing, and I thought to myself, gosh, it seems like there's a pattern at work here. So let's take a look at this blunt wrap ban that is happening across America. You got to pity the poor cigar industry. They claim to be worried that their product, the cigar, is being sullied by the cross-identification with marijuana. This one's from the Register Guard in Salem. Oregon is one of the growing number of states where the cigar industry wants to ban blunt wraps, which ostensibly are for roll-your-own cigar aficionados, but in many instances are used to make supersized marijuana joints. The Cigar Association of America requested House Bill 2363 as one of several such proposals in state capitals nationwide, said its Oregon lobbyist Paul Cosgrove. The bill would make it illegal for anyone in Oregon to sell or dispense these items, also known as cigar or blunt wrappers. They are made wholly or in part from tobacco, come in the form of a leaf, sheet, or tube, and are often flavored. The Cigar Group, which represents manufacturers, is planning to argue in Salem, as it has been contending in other state capitals, that the reputation of its products is being sullied by the marketing of these wrappers to pot smokers under the guise of being part of the cigar culture. Cosgrove said, quote, "We don't want to be connected with drugs. We have a legitimate, lawful product." Oh, yeah, we wouldn't want the sterling reputation of toxic, addictive, carcinogenic cigars to be cross-identified with marijuana. No, that would be awful. And so your solution, Mr. Cosgrove, is to ban another legitimate, lawful product? And if this is the problem, if blunt wraps lead people to confuse cigars with pot, then how come nobody's out there calling for the ban on rolling papers, zigzags, bamboos, and all that to make, because those are associated with rolling joints. I haven't heard the tobacco industry execs screaming about this one. This is also happening in Idaho. I mentioned it's happening in Idaho. In the Spokesman Review, they point out the Cigar Association of America wants Idaho to outlaw blunt wraps as a type of roll-your-own cigar wrapper as drug paraphernalia. Russ Westerberg, lobbyist for the group, told the Idaho Senate Judiciary Committee today that blunts traditionally were cigars rolled in a single continuous tobacco leaf, which had a blunt end as opposed to a tapered end. In recent times, the term blunt has been associated with marijuana or joints, he told lawmakers. The wrappers, which are made of tobacco, often flavored and sold in cigar stores and convenience stores for little more than $1 a piece, quote, are becoming popular with users of marijuana and other illegal substances, Westerberg said. If there is a legitimate use, at a minimum, any legitimate use of a blunt wrap would pale in comparison with the illegal one, he declared. Near as we can tell, there is no legitimate use for a cigar wrap, end quote. Well, I'd say the legitimate use of a cigar wrap is the same one offered by zigzags or bamboos. A person could legitimately roll tobacco in them and smoke it. And in fact, this was noted in Illinois when lawmakers there rejected a ban on blunt wraps. This is from mywebtimes.com. House-sponsored Majority Leader Barbara Flynn Curry, a Democrat from Chicago, said people can disguise the smell of marijuana by rolling their own cigarettes in blunt wraps. Curry said, quote, this bill defines something that is clearly drug paraphernalia. You only buy it if you want to smoke a joint, end quote. But Representative Dan Brady, Republican of Bloomington, disagreed. Quote, I got a dear friend who likes to smoke cigars and likes to use these wraps or buy these wraps, and he has no intent to smoke a joint, end quote, Brady said. That's right. The Democrat coming out against coming out for banning the blunt wraps and the Republican defending them. I love that. Even with the blunt wraps ban, marijuana users can still find ways to be innovative. Representative Monique Davis, Democrat of Chicago, said, quote, this product in no way is used for only wrapping marijuana. Pipes are used for smoking marijuana. Are we going to prohibit the sale of pipes because some people choose to use them improperly? They roll marijuana in a newspaper. Shall we stop selling newspapers? End quote, she said. And again, yeah, should we stop selling apples? I mean, people cut up apples to smoke pot out of them. Bic pens, you can use a Bic pen. I mean, there's so many things that can be used to smoke marijuana. If you banned every possible thing someone would use to smoke pot with, we wouldn't have much in this country left to buy. And what it really comes down to is this. The Cigar Association of America would like you to believe that they have your best interests at heart, the best interests of cigar aficionados at heart, and the general public. But what this really comes down to is their bottom line. Banning blunt wraps sells more cigars. It has nothing to do with their reputation. If indeed blunt wraps have no legitimate use in cigar smoking, then how could you claim a negative connotation with drugs? Either they're used for cigars or they're not used for cigars. And if you're saying there's no legitimate cigar use out of a blunt wrap, then how is that affecting the image of cigars? You can't have it both ways. Here's what it is. The Cigar Association of America knows that banning blunt wraps won't stop people from using them to mask the smell of marijuana smoking or to amplify the psychoactive effects of cannabis. People have found out that when they smoke tobacco with cannabis, it amplifies or it increases the absorption of THC in the system. We've got scientific studies to show this. Before blunt wraps were marketed, tokers used to, and a lot of tokers still do, buy a box of Swisher Sweets or a different type of cigar, and then they empty all the tobacco out of it and they pack it back up with cannabis. So if you're the Cigar Association of America, wouldn't you rather that someone was buying a $7 cigar and emptying it out rather than a $1 blunt wrap? By their logic, we ought to be calling for a ban on cigars because